Okay, so it seems like recently I came across this post over on the Wuthering Waves subreddit, essentially talking about an interview kind of question that went Solon Lee's way. Now, we've covered a lot of different interviews that Solon Lee has done, and, they've been very interesting to look at and exactly, where he wants to take the game moving forwards and things like that. But essentially, this one question has caught a lot of people's attention, especially considering how the gameplay state is right now. And obviously, they say why focus on 3 minutes of high quality experience, and then Solon says it's intuitive. Even if players only log in for 3 minutes a day, those minutes should feel great. This builds lasting affection and sustains a game for 5, 10, even 20 years. Now, obviously, this is a very, very interesting kind of answer, obviously, considering everything that is going on in the game at the moment, including, obviously, the kind of patches. It hasn't exactly been the most insane patches over the past couple of ones. Now, there has been some really good story, and that is mainly the thing that is driving a lot of people to Wuthering Waves at the moment, was that kind of final story thing, which kind of made up for a lot of the other kind of dry stuff around the patch. But to be honest, obviously a lot of people are now pointing out the fact of the 3 minutes a day thing. Now, many people have also been commenting on this, and it's been a very interesting conversation because you got to think about this in terms of like gacha games as a whole. I play a lot of other gacha games as well. Obviously I play Genshin Impact. I play Nikkei, I play Azure Lane, I play so many other gacha games, which have very many different systems, which I do wish was in Wuthering Waves, or not in, or a system that I wish wasn't in one of the other games, or something that was in Wuthering Waves that I wish was in like Nikkei. It's a big mix, right? But I think, a lot of them always come down to the fact of quick gameplay, right? And the same goes for Wuthering Waves. Now, games like Wuthering Waves and Genshin Impact, they tend to have like a higher kind of like longevity in terms of like gameplay. So they allow you to go the extra mile and, sit down for like 5 hours and, go explore the world, do quests and stuff like that, right? 100% true. That is, one of the things that they do compared to a game like Nikkei where, you could probably spend like maximum maybe an hour and then you would get onto like maybe story quests and things. And that's about most of the stuff that you're going to be doing for the entire time, right? And I do think that is something that people need to kind of bear in mind, is the fact that, some places and some gacha games, they have systems in place for those people that don't want to spend that extra time to essentially, as Solon puts it here, spend 3 minutes in the game, get all of the daily rewards they can, and then leave, because a lot of people do not want to play the game at the moment, right? People saying the best method is 3 minute dailies on work days, longer sessions on weekdays, which again, I think they mean weekends there. So yes, this is exactly how I play it as well, which again, obviously, is more of a sustainable thing. And many people bring up that fact because, some people only play 3 minutes a day, not because they dislike the game or anything, but because they have something like work or school or like any kind of other kind of thing to do, right? That they don't have the time to spend hours playing the game. And I think most of us working adults do. No way I can give more than 30 minutes a day for a game during weekdays, which, obviously, some people find the time after work or whatever to do it for a little bit longer, I guess. But it is all down to personal preference. And that's what makes gacha games quite appealing to a lot of people that maybe, work quite a bit, because, you don't have to spend all of that time within the game. And I think anybody getting mad at the fact that Solon is saying, hey, I want people to log in for 3 minutes a day and those minutes to feel great. I don't think you should be mad at him at all, because, again, at the end of the day, this is a gacha game. Sure, if you're trying to make a big story game or something like that wasn't gacha related at all, it wasn't really live service, then sure, saying I want them to play for 3 minutes would be a bad kind of statement to make. But as I said, you gotta remember, this is a gacha game where people don't have a lot of time to spend in the game 100% of the time. And obviously that ties in with a lot of people saying currently that the patches are really dry, which is true. I do think obviously there isn't much to do, and a lot of people are trying to find other things in the world to do, or even going over to other games. But I do think that is how it's intended to be. Now, sure, I do wish they did a little bit more, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's like the end of the world or anything. I do think, it gives people the time to essentially go and explore other games as well. For example, we've had like Duet Night Abyss coming out, Chaos Zero Nightmare, so many other gacha games which people can also kind of catch up on while they are waiting for the next patch in wuwa, because that's what it's kind of been like for the past couple of months, right? people go and play the main story quest, which has been very, very hyped and, been very, very great, right? But then after that is done, maybe they do a couple of events and things, and then after that, well, then they're essentially done. They're either just farming every single day or exploring the world or something, and that's about it, right? And many people need something else to do. And I think that, that 3 minutes allows them to go and do something else and to actually, play something else. It doesn't even have to be a gacha game. I'm not saying, hey, you need to go back into the pipeline of gacha and you need to go, or even non-gacha, including Duet Night Abyss, which isn't obviously a gacha game. It's I don't know, it's a gacha-like almost. That's what I kind of want to call it, because it doesn't have gacha within the characters. I'm pretty sure it has gacha within the cosmetics, but again, it's not like really a gacha game, but it kind of is because it has that style. Again, it's kind of difficult to kind of even categorize these games at the moment, but I do think obviously it does, provide anyone, the time to go and play just something else. Just, as I said, doesn't even have to be gacha, and catch up on that. And then they can come in every single day, or not even every single day, but, I think the plan is, obviously, with Solon, to come in every single day for about 3 minutes, do something, then leave, and then obviously, then they will come back for those longer extended periods of play, whenever there's events out, whenever there's story out, and whenever there's a lot more to do, which I think is obviously the healthy way that a gacha game needs to move forward. So I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure on Kuro to constantly deliver every single patch, but as we've been saying since like version 1.0 or so, it's been one of these things that is like, hey, we don't have to put banger after banger out every single kind of update. Now, they could if they wanted to, sure, but again, it puts a lot of strain on staff. They need to get stuff sorted for things like, 3.0 and other stuff that people are excited for, so maybe they have to slow down a bit to kind of prepare for that. So again, I do think a lot of people do have a lot of high expectations, especially for a gacha game, right? And, obviously I was talking about other gacha games that I do play. I think they also have that kind of similar system where, if I wanted to play the game for an extended period of time, I could. Maybe a little bit shorter than Wuthering Waves. I feel like Wuthering Waves has like one of the most extended kind of play times that you could potentially have, right? But, for example, like Nikkei and As Your Lane, right? They do have, some pretty short play times if you wanted to, right? You can go in there, get your stuff, do whatever, and get out. And that has been the kind of core of a gacha game for quite a while, right? And, there's many new games that are planning to come out that don't have gacha and things, which obviously, yeah, if they aren't creating some kind of long gameplay for you to play, then they probably aren't doing a very good job, unless their plan is to make you log in for like 3 minutes a day. But again, it doesn't seem like there'll be any kind of reason to, because there's nothing to pull on, there's nothing to get the rewards for. But again, for gacha games in particular, I think it is actually a very good model, and I think a lot of people have actually been agreeing down in the comments saying like, hey, we've got works and stuff like that to do, so we can't play the game all the time. People forget, but gachas are meant to be played for a bit daily, not to be marathon for 3 days straight. Every gacha that isn't Grand Blue Fantasy is like that. While wuwa has really high quality, it still follows the same rules as other gachas. 100% true. And people say, well, this is why I play gacha. The system starts to break down when you force your population to do all quests in order to unlock new content like echo farms. I love new characters releasing, but quite honestly, most gacha stories fall pretty flat. This is my opinion. So obviously, yeah, they don't like some of the story, and people saying that's a separate issue, to be honest. One Kuro needs to address in 3.0 before it gets worse. Realistically, they should at least make all flower sealers and blacksmiths sell the materials required for characters and weapons, or start handling selectors. Alternatively, scrap the material requirements altogether and repurpose the drops to do something else, which, yeah, obviously some people have some issues with the leveling up characters, which I did find an issue with, because again, obviously I was a little bit behind on the story at one point, and it was kind of annoying that I had a new character that I really wanted to build, but I didn't really want to go through all of the story to unlock the area and to unlock a lot of the stuff that I needed to actually upgrade that character. So I ended up just like leaving, I ended up just quitting the game and just going to do something else, because I couldn't be bothered to do all of that, because I do want to get into the story, right? And I do want to sit down and do it, but not at that time. you know, and I didn't want to skip through it all just to get, you know, the area. I wanted to actually, you know, experience the story itself. So I think there could be some kind of changes that could be made there to kind of improve people's time and also keep people coming back, because I do think that would be a big one that will keep people coming back. But again, there's many different updates and stuff that people can suggest here. And we're saying, yeah, but it takes 2 minutes to log in due to compiling shaders. And in some cases, the restart button that just doesn't automatically restart. But again, it also depends what you play on with compiling shaders and stuff. Sometimes it will take like 2 minutes if you have like a really good, or if you have a not so good, sorry, a GPU or something. And sometimes it'll take like 30 seconds, 20 seconds if you've got a good GPU, CPU, whatever. So again, I do think that is entirely system-based. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about this because I thought it was very interesting. Obviously, them talking about like 3 minutes a day. I do think 3 minutes a day is actually a pretty decent kind of goal for a gacha game to have someone coming back. And obviously, it does seem to work for a lot of people considering the kind of revenue and analytics that we're seeing from the game. So yeah, I just kind of want to talk about it. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this, because again, I'm very interested as this is a very interesting conversation to kind of bring up. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. So, see ya.